Someone keeps depositing money into my account. It was fun, until they started asking me to do things. When I randomly received $250, I assumed it was either some sort of scam or I'd just hit the jackpot. I never could have guessed the horrifying truth that my life was about to be ruined forever. I wasn't expecting any payments, especially since the sender was named as AWST 276. I originally assumed it was for my husband, since we share an account, but after checking with him, he didn't recognize this peculiar name either. So who was just giving me money? No normal person just gives $250 for free, at least not without expecting something in return. It must be a scam. But as the hours went by, I didn't get any weird texts or phone calls. That fat $250 just sat there in my bank account, taking up space. "We should give it back," my husband said when I got home. "I don't think we can do that." "Sure we can. We call the bank, tell them to reverse the transaction." I shot him a look. "Or we could just keep it. Someone did give it to us. I'm not a bad person who steals money, but my husband and I didn't have the best jobs, and we had our kids to feed." "That's unethical," my husband said. "What's unethical is forcing the kids to eat rice and beans for lunch every day." I slammed the refrigerator shut and plopped down on the couch. "Look, I feel a little weird about it too, okay? But it's not like I picked up a wallet someone dropped and found $250 in it. Someone actually gave this to us, whether it was accidental or not." We eventually both went to bed, and my husband gave in. If only I'd known the truth of where that $250 came from, I would have sent it back immediately. But unfortunately, my greed got the better of me. I now wish I had just listened to my husband. When I woke up the next morning, there was a text from an unknown number waiting for me. "At 2:13 p.m. today, go to the corner of 12th Ave and North St. Take a photo of the short man in the black coat." What the heck? But Jerry had already left for work. I'd tell him about it later. After waving to my kids on the bus, I left for work. But then another text came in as I was riding the elevator up. "If you want to keep the $250, take the photo." My throat went dry. I knew there would be a twist. It wasn't free money. Some weirdo wired $250 to me. The elevator doors slid open and I stumbled out. How do they have my number? Is it someone I know? I glanced around at the hall of cubicles, at the people I'd worked side by side with for 5 years. Ed. Ed is weird enough to pull something like this, but then I frowned. If Ed were wiring me $250, he would be asking for a photo of something else. I set my phone face down on the desk and got to work. I didn't spend another thought on the text. I pretended it didn't even happen. I just focused on my happy little spreadsheets, on the upcoming presentation, and hoped it would all go away by 5. It didn't. At 2 o'clock sharp, my phone buzzed loudly, and when I pulled up the text, my breath caught in my throat. "Why haven't you left yet?" I glanced wildly around the office, but nobody was looking at me. I ran over to the window. The sidewalk below was filled with people, but none of them were looking up in my direction. Fear pounded through my veins. Bzzzt, another text. "You want to give your kids that special lunch tomorrow, don't you?" I froze. They'd been in my yard, watching me, and now they were somewhere on the street, or in this very office, watching my every move. I had to comply. What's the worst that could happen? It's just a picture, right? I shot up from the desk and ran to the elevator. It took me 8 minutes to get to the corner of 12th and North, running, in heels. Panting, I glanced around at my surroundings, but I didn't see anything out of place. A woman jogging by, a mother pushing a stroller, 2 businessmen arguing as they crossed the street, and at 2:13, a short man in a black coat strolled into view. He pressed the button for the crosswalk. Quickly, I whipped out my phone, pretended I was texting, and snapped a photo of him. I rushed back to the office building, tears stinging my eyes as my fingers slid across the screen. "Here's your photo," I texted with the image. "Now leave me the F alone." I thought this would be the end of it, but I was so wrong. After work, I went to the grocery store. I got my kids organic sliced turkey and aged Gouda and effing gourmet Swiss chocolate for lunch tomorrow. I'd played their stupid little sick game, and damn it if I wasn't going to reap the rewards. As the goods approached the conveyor belt, my phone vibrated. A new notification. "Woohoo! You just got paid." My heart fell into my stomach, and it fell through the floor when I saw the amount. $1,000. Whatever they were going to ask me to do tomorrow, I had a feeling it was going to be a lot worse than taking a photo of some random guy. I threw my groceries into the trunk of the car, the whole world going blurry with my tears. Just ignore it. Whatever they ask you to do tomorrow, just don't respond. They'll take the money back and that'll be it. Then you can go to the police and tell them everything. But I was naive to assume they'd wait until tomorrow, because as I started the car, my phone buzzed again. "Drive to the pier." I stared at those 4 words, my heart pounding in my chest, and then I leapt into action. "I don't want to play your sick effing game," I texted, my hands shaking. "Take your money back. I don't want it. Leave me alone." Brzzt, new text. "It's too late for that," I swallowed. "What do you mean it's too late?" I wrote back. 3 dots popped up showing they were typing, and then the message appeared. "Because the cargo is already in your back seat." My heart pounded in my ears. Did he go into my car? "You really shouldn't leave your car unlocked, Lynn." I closed out of the texting app, pulled up the phone and began dialing 911. Something thumped against the back of my seat. Every muscle in my body froze. I held my breath. The shadows in the rearview mirror shifted, but I couldn't quite make out. A new text. "Drive to the pier and you'll be safe. But if you call the police..." They didn't need to finish that sentence. I had to comply. I was trapped. I swung out of the parking lot and drove as fast as I could to the pier. When I got there, I parked in a dark little corner and cut the lights. Now in the darkness, in the silence, I could hear them breathing, a steady rush of air right behind my ear. Brrst, new text. Close your eyes. I squeezed them shut tight, rustling movement in the back seat, and then the open and close of a car door. Faint footsteps on the pavement, receding into the darkness. I let out the breath I'd been holding. I don't know how long I'd been sitting there with my eyes closed, but I eventually drove home sobbing, praying that this whole nightmare was over. Maybe it was all finally over, but I wasn't so lucky. Because this morning, when I woke up, I had a new notification, a $10,000 deposit. All I could do was sit there, staring at my phone, my heart pounding in my chest. I couldn't eat, couldn't move, because I knew sooner or later I'd get the instructions. It was almost noon when my phone pinged. Hands shaking, I picked it up and stared at the message. Deliver the package to 12 Maple Avenue. Package? What pack? Ding. The doorbell rang, followed by a dull thump on the porch. No. The kitchen swam beneath me. Slowly, I forced myself up. Then I walked to the door and swung it open. At my feet, there was a brown box. It wasn't that small, about a foot on a side. Heart pounding in my chest, I reached down and picked it up. It was heavier than I expected, but not exceedingly so. Taking deep breaths, I started back inside. I stopped. There was a pool of dark liquid where the box had just been. I lifted the box up and saw in the center, the cardboard was wet, soggy, stained dark red. I dropped the box and screamed. It made a wet thwack on my front porch. I leapt inside and slammed the door. Brrst, new text. My phone, on the kitchen table. The screen lit up with a message. I slowly walked towards it, the pain building in my chest. Deliver the package, Lynn, I texted back, my fingers flying over the screen. F off. You're sick. I'm calling the police. The reply came back almost instantly. You'll be dead before you get the chance. I whipped around, and then I saw it. On the other side of the street, a black sedan with dark windows idled by the curb. My throat went dry. If they were holding a gun, they'd have a straight shot at my head. Bleep, another text. We have a second car at JCP Elementary. It's recess. All I have to do is give the word and you're dead. My throat went dry. All the air sucked out my lungs. I couldn't breathe. Please, I typed back. Please just leave us alone. The reply popped up. I will if you deliver the package. This is your final task. I got up, slowly walked into the kitchen. I couldn't let my kids live the rest of their lives without a mother. I had to listen to them. What if they did something to my kids? Through the window I could see the brown box, askew on the steps, the wet, darkened stain. And please don't drop it again. It's fragile. Shaking, I made my way back to the door. I picked up the box. Something thunked against the side as I rotated it in my hands. I swallowed and tried not to imagine what was inside. I stiffly walked to the car, put the box into the passenger seat. Then I got in the driver's seat and stared out the windshield. I can't do this. But when I glanced in the rearview mirror, I saw the black car, idling at the curb, watching me. As I drove, I couldn't stop glancing at the box, at the dark red seeping into the gray cloth of the passenger seat. Deep down, I think I knew what was in the box, but that didn't stop me from pulling over to the side of the road, just outside of town, and taking a peek. My hand shook as I pulled off the tape. As soon as the seal was broken, a horrible smell filled the car. Gasping, I grabbed the flap and quickly pulled it up, and immediately vomited. It was a head, the head of an adult man. I grabbed the flaps and pushed them shut, grabbed the tape off the floor and quickly sealed the box again, rolled the windows down to get rid of the smell, gasped in gulps of fresh air, because in the quick flash I'd seen, the face looked familiar. It looked like the man I'd taken a photo of, in the black coat. I hit the gas and sped through town until I was turning into Oak Grove, the community of McMansions built several years back. I passed brick archways, white columns, sprawling lawns of green. I frantically looked for the number 12, and then I found it. The house was grand, sitting on top of a hill. I pulled up to the curb and grabbed the box. Then I burst out and ran up to the front door. A wave of nausea hit me, but I forced myself to concentrate on my steps. Almost there, almost. As soon as my feet hit the porch, I dropped the box and got the hell out. When I was halfway down the hill, I heard the door creak open behind me, then a pause, and then a woman's scream. I kept running, dove into the car, hit the gas and peeled down the road. When I was finally back in my house, every door locked and sealed, I sent off a final text. I delivered the box. Our transactions are over. Never contact me again. I stared at the screen, my eyes watering, and then 3 little dots popped up. You weren't supposed to open the box, Lynn. The phone slipped out of my hands, and then I began to sob. My entire body shook as I imagined what horrible things this person would ask me to do next. But it's been a month now, and I haven't heard anything. I've been watching the news, though, and last night, they broadcast something that put a dagger in my chest. The police had been working for months on the local man's murder, and while they never traced anything back to me or the person who deposited money into my account, they finally got a break in the case. They found the murder weapon, buried in some muck in the water next to the pier, buried right next to a photo with my name on it. The police were about to show up at my house, and there was nothing I could do to prove my innocence.